In this video I'm going to show you my setup, how I print and location of my printer and how I keep myself safe, and it's really important that you do that. It's really important. It's a toxic substance, resin, so make sure you totally respect it. I mean, you'll see that I do, and it's really important, really important for the environment, for everything in it, all the other creatures, everyone, humans. You know, we don't want to start poisoning the world with resin now.
In 500 feet, enter the roundabout and take the first exit.
Okay, my printer's in its own little sort of house, and it's got an outlet on that house that I can connect a tube to, and that tube then goes to an extractor pump air thing, and then that goes to the outside and I can extract any fumes outside, so that protects me. I also wear a gas mask and gloves, really important. Keep all those things at hand and use them at all times, no matter what. And I keep my gloves on until really I've put on the first coat, even after curing, because you've got to cure it. And I keep my gloves on even after curing, right up until I've given it at least one coat of primer. Basically, it's really important to do that. I just feel safer doing that, basically. And all any cloths and utensils I use to handle the resin, I clean thoroughly with paper towels, and then those towels get dried out in the sunshine, as you'll see, and the resin dries and goes. I don't waste. I don't pour pure resin down the drain. Just don't do that. So if you clean anything, make sure it's all done properly. And this is what I do. This is how I cure all my cloths, my supports. I make sure everything's clean and cured, and even my filters there are curing, so that when it goes in the bin, I mean, look, that's a paper towel which is curing in the sunshine. So it's the best way. Instead of wasting electricity, you can do it anyway, so you might as well use the sunshine while it's there. Yeah, just give it a little turn now and again, just to make sure it's all doing nicely. Well, that's just all sticking together because it's curing. So, you know, it does work, clearly. And it makes me feel a lot better, makes everything else safer. Just make sure no birds or flies are getting on it, get off. So yeah, all good. So here's my setup. I keep my printer inside this growing, I think it's for plants or something, growing chamber. It's completely isolated. I can't smell it while it's in there. I'll show you what else I've done as well in a minute to get rid of the smell. This is my spray, keeps everything clean. Here I've got my first pass rinse. Remember I said in my previous video I do two rinses. Well, this is the first rinse, and all this is a pickler. You can see some of the resin still in the bottom there, and it's got this stuff, this cleaning fluid in the bottom, which quite frankly needs a bit of a clean out. And it does smell, but it's not as toxic as resin, so but it can make some people a bit ugh. But it's okay when it's in there. It's perfectly fine. I've got this tray here, and I'll show you what I do with that in a moment. And obviously this stuff, you get through loads of this stuff, loads. So the printer's inside here. Let's open this up. It's a nice little zipper there, and the lid, the front flaps up like this, and you can see the printer inside. It's got a little hose or little spaces. You can feed cables in there, you know, in and out of there quite easily. And at the back, I don't know if you can see that, it's got a upper space to put cables through, which is quite handy. Along the side there's a vent slot, so I'll show you what I do with that in a minute. But this is where my printer lives, and while it's doing it, I've got this little heater in here. I can't remember where I got this from actually, but I got this online, and it just heats up this little chamber really nicely before I start printing. It's perfect. It does the job, heats it up, because it can get a bit cold I'm in the UK, so it's October now, so it's getting a little bit chilly, although today it's about 16 degrees, which is perfect. I mean, I've printed colder than that with this heater warming it up to around 20-21 degrees, and it's fine, works well. And I am getting another heater to go in the back here. Once that comes, I'll install that, and I'll just use this for the outside, and that'll keep it nice and toasty warm on the inside on colder days. There's nothing in here at the moment. I've just cleaned it out. There's no resin in there, so yeah, I've just did a big clean, so that's good. That's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And what I do is when it kicks off, I've got this little vent here, so it comes out here, comes out the side there, goes up. Let's move this out of the way, and goes to this venting machine, and it sucks the air out of here. Basically, it sucks the air out of here. I leave a little hole down on the side here, and the air filters through, it comes out here, sucks all the toxic air out of inside there, comes through the tube, goes out here to this machine here. I'll put all this in links in the description below, so you can see and click on it, and if you want to purchase it, you can. I mean, it works really well. So when I come in here and it's printing, it's all zipped up and closed off, I don't see any, I don't smell anything. There's no smell, but that's not to say it's not bad. So, you know, just because you can't smell it doesn't mean you say there's nothing there. So just be wary of that. And when it's going, I usually then just leave it, do its thing, and go and watch it in another room on my computer. I just watch TV or whatever and go about my day and just check on it occasionally, and it's all good. Once I've done my first wash, I use something like this. I'll put it in here with some towels, carry it to the other room, to where the curer is and to where the other washer is. I'll wash them again properly with the proper wash, and then put it in the curer, and then I prime them, and after that they're safe to touch. I try not to touch them until that's done, unless I have to. But I use this to use my little spray box to spray. It's just a cardboard box, which I use as a sort of protector to protect the area while I spray primer onto the models. So yeah, that's my process. It's it's quite elaborate, but it works, and I want to keep it safe, and don't want to be chucking stuff in the garbage that's toxic or anything like that. This thing is really good because it's got like little pockets on the side here. Don't know if you can see that. It's got little pockets on here, so I keep things like a toothbrush, old one of course, that I used for cleaning things, small gloves, and what's this? That's a mask. I don't really need that. Yeah, so I don't really use that, so I've got a different mask. I'll show you that one later. I've got some goggles here, which I had. They're like decorating goggles. I put them on when I'm cleaning out the vat. It's always useful to protect yourself fully. You know, better safe than sorry, that's what I say. And you saw this before. These are all my tools. I started using this, and it started really scratching up the build plate, so I stopped using it and started using this plastic one. And this is adequate. It does the job perfectly well. It doesn't make all the scratches and gouge your build plate either, so that's definitely worth using that when you get it. And another pair of glasses, just as a safety precaution really. So yeah, and when I pour resin, I use this little thing here. So I put my funnel on the top with my filter in it, I put my bottle in there, and I just pour and stand back, and I don't need to be there for it. So you know, the less hands-on the better. And I've had a couple of little spills, so I'm glad I use this now, so it's good. Okay, so here is the masks that I use. I'll put this in the link in the description below too, but this is really, really good. When you got this on and you're around resin and stuff, you cannot smell it at all. Even when it's open and you're pouring it and stuff, you can't smell the resin, and it's really, really good. So definitely worth getting one of these if you can. They're not that much, not that expensive, but well worth it. So, you know, just be safe if you're doing this. That's what I would recommend. So I was going to show you what I do is when the print's done. I'm going to start a print in a minute, so I might show you. Remember the bib? Drip tray? Well, I don't use that. What I do is I lift this up, obviously, and there's a feature in here which lets you take this build plate home. It raises it up to the top. When it's up and the print is finished, I then get my tray and I park it here like this, ready to capture it. Obviously I do this with two hands, I can't do it with now. And then I take the build plate off, let it drip, and the reason why I do that is just to protect the fap really, and the screen below that. You know, if this drops and a corner hits it, it'll do a lot of damage. I just don't like if it slips out of your hand or something. So I just do this, catches any resin that it might drip, so then you can just pull it away, rest it down on your tray here. I've got this rubberized tray which captures everything inside it, which is really useful. And you can put your build plate down and then scrape off using the plastic. Just scrape them off using the plastic scraper there, and it will fall there. Put them in the wash, bish bash bosh. So that's a really useful tip there. I don't know why I do that. I just found it to be a lot easier than relying on that drip tray and risking the fact that you're going to drop it. And if you do drip it, drop it. If you do drop it, you can catch it using this tray. So it's all good. It's all good. So that's that. Yeah, I've got these little lights around it as well, because they were just some ode. Oh, you can see them flickering. Okay. I'll try not to shine them too much, but they were just some old tree lights we had, and they need some light in here when it gets dark, so they were perfect for that. Printer's coming on, which is cool. I'm going to switch my little heater on here for a minute. I have to plug it in at the back. So it's doing its checks. Right, so I've got my heater on here. It's currently 16, nearly 17 degrees. Yeah, I can feel that. Printer's on, so I'll leave that for a minute. I'll put this lid down like this. Zip it up like that. I'll put the vent on. There'll be enough space for that to suck air through and into the chamber and out the tubes to outside, so it vents basically, which is what I want. Okay, it's time to print, I do believe. I think, let's have a look what temperature it says it's in there now. We're at 20 degrees, that's perfectly fine. I've always printed around that temp when it's that temperature, so never had any problems. So if I've had one fail, but I know why it failed. But I've never had a fail because of temperature yet. And you put your hand in here, it feels really warm. So, and the actual printer will heat up as it goes anyway, so it stays warm, because I switch this off when it starts, well, not right away, but you know, as it you know, half an hour in, I'd switch it off. So we're going to print here, and we're going to do it off a USB stick. Yeah, I'm going to print that one, and I'm just going to get it going. And now I can go inside, sit on my computer and watch it once it kicks off. I'm doing, this is the bust that I'm doing for a friend who's asked me to do it for him, so yeah. He gave me the STL file and I put it into Chitterbox and it's all good. Now I turn this on up here. Makes a little bit of noise, but I don't care because I'm not in here, so it doesn't matter. And there we go. I just leave it to do its thing. It keeps it. This thing keeps it away from any sunlight as well, which is really good. And I've got a cover to go on the front here, but and it's got Velcro here, but there's no way to. I tried sticking it on with a bit of tape, but it just fell off. So if you wanted to put it in more place where it's more light, then this will do that, but you got to figure out a way of sticking it on basically. So there we go. Now that was a I think it said a 4.5 hour print, so we'll see what happens. Just let it do its thing in there. I'll come back in a minute and turn the heating off. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that.